You're listening to Engage Williston, a Williston Area Chamber of Commerce podcast, brought to you by the Leadership Williston Class of 2025. Your hosts are Diane Schmidt, Megan Liss, and Carmen Delaney.
Engage Williston is brought to you by Western Cooperative Credit Union. You can visit their website at wccu.org. Join the herd. Hello and welcome to another edition of Engage Williston. I'm Diane and I have Carmen with me. Meg is out today and our guest is Helen Askim.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome,
Helen.
Excited.
Yeah, thank you.
I know you wear so many hats. I don't even know where to begin. So I'm going to start with, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
My name is Helen Askim and I'm the County Administrator for Williams County.
And what does that mean? Like, what all does that entail?
I would say that the County Administrator is responsible for executing the overall vision of the County Commissioners and working to facilitate what departments have going on, coordinating that with maybe what the community needs. And also I work really as a collaborator, liaison between our departments. So maybe if we have some big internal effort going on, then it's me who's helping to shepherd all the departments and their needs to get that effort done. Or I work closely with, for example, Joe Barsh, who's the Parks and Rec Director, or Sean Wanko, who's the City Administrator, Jason Germanson, who's the Superintendent of Schools. We end up working together on things in which our organizations overlap.
Wow, so you work with everyone in the city.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about everyone, but in public organizations for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You certainly work with the Chamber of Commerce a lot. I know you are heavily involved in what we do as well, which is amazing. So it's interesting because my perception is that you just kind of run the county, and I know that's obviously...
No, we have 5 county commissioners who definitely run the county, plus 4 elected officials at Williams County who sort of have a mandate by the Century Code to operate their department with some autonomy.
Yeah, but
you
it still sounds
keep
like
them
you...
focused.
Exactly.
Well, I don't have... the way the county government works, those 4 elected officials, so it's the state's attorney, the sheriff, the auditor, and then we've combined 2 positions to be the treasurer recorder in Williams County. Those 4 positions, really the Century Code, which is North Dakota's governing document, our constitution in a way, it really says that those 4 elected officials have a fair amount of autonomy to do what they need to do. Yeah. There's that checks and balance of government. Mm-hmm. And so in my role, I certainly have some influence and authority over, for example, some staffing things and some finance things that could help to, I partner with those elected officials, but if the sheriff wants to make a decision, I can't overrule him.
Right. Yeah. But it definitely feels like, not that you run the county, but you're like the guidelines. You're keeping everything kind of in place and coordinating so much. It's kind of amazing, like hearing what you do.
Certainly I think I have been there a long time. I've worked at the county for, in November, it'll be 28 years.
Wow.
And so the continuity, I know where we've been and have been a part of making plans for where we're going. So I can certainly help provide continuity.
That's amazing.
Well, and the interesting part is you mentioned that you're with the county, but every person that you mentioned is the city. So it's like you work hand in hand with not only the county, but the city as well. Right?
Yeah, Sean Wanko is the city administrator, so he's my counterpart at the city. One of the differences in the city level of government is that they don't have any other elected officials. So at the city, there's 5 commissioners, and then there's Sean Wanko, and everybody reports to Sean. And so the police chief, the fire chief, the library is a little different, but they all report right to the city administrator, and that's a different structure in county government, in part because we have those elected officials, but also I am not officially the boss to our other department heads. Again, I have these functions and we work together on things, but
you guys collaborate on things, right? It's like you...
For sure, the city and the county have to work together. We talk about our citizens are the same people. So people that live in the city that are citizens of the city are also citizens of Williams County.
Right.
And so we're serving the needs of them differently, but we certainly work together. And the chairman of our board, Corey Hansen, talks about we can just move money from our one front pocket to the other front pocket in that, sort of farmer logic way. I don't think that citizens care if they've paid taxes to the city or the county and how the work gets done, but they want the work to get done.
Right.
And so we try and make sure that we're not duplicating effort or getting too hung up on who's spending the money when we know we need to serve the citizens.
Yeah.
And I don't know that everyone understands that you guys are working together and collaborating to make sure that our needs as citizens are met.
Yeah, and the functions that we serve are different. So, for example, the city has a fire and ambulance department, and so fire response, and there are districts, and so there's rural first responders as well. But, for example, the city's ambulance district, and you can picture that on a map, there's actually boundaries for these things. So there's a line that says, here's where the Williston Ambulance District ends and the Granora Ambulance District starts. But Williston Ambulance serves folks way down into the Trenton area. And so in that regard, they aren't just within city boundaries always. But there are functions like the library, in which the Century Code allows us to collaborate, but the city really takes the lead on operating what is a collaborative library. It's a joint library for city and county. So there's all sorts of nuances to how it works.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Right. And it probably kind of depends entirely on like a department's capabilities and...
The Century Code drives a lot of this. So there are rules about how ambulance districts are set up, or there's a whole section in the Century Code that talks about if you combine a county and a city library, here's how the Joint Library Board works.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's actually not confusing when you're working in the middle of it. It's pretty clear whose responsibility is what. And then there are things like the Williston Park District has a boundary, and we all know the ARC and Joe Barsh and all that crew. But then there are county parks like Blacktail. If you think about going out to Blacktail or Little Egypt, Coteray, those are county parks. So we have a park district. Then the park district in Williston is separate.
Yeah.
In Tioga Ray, they have park districts. Some of them have recreation districts, which are set up a little different under the Century Code. So it's also not a one-size-fits-all. How city government works, park districts.
Yeah, I know. I was part of putting on those park concerts that you guys hosted for the summer series, which is so cool. I think that's a really cool county program that people might not be aware of, those summer concert series over at Coteray. And what were really the ones you said? Little Egypt?
Yeah, so we have rural parks, and we had concerts this year at Epping, Springbrook Dam, Blacktail, Coteray, McGregor, Little Egypt.
Yeah, that was amazing. Mother Nature had her own plans for those concerts.
Yeah.
Boy, we had wind and rain. We had complication in many of them, but it's a fun weekend night to get out to a county park. You get to drive out into the country. We have this cool portable stage that, makes sure that you can see the performers.
Yeah.
And then you get to sit on a blanket or in your lawn chairs and enjoy some music outdoors and then drive back into town. Or you could camp there if you want.
Yeah.
All of them have campgrounds. Wow. So it's a good time.
Yeah, that was so cool. And that's those little programs too, like it's so cool that the county, is responsible for infrastructure for citizens, but also gets to do cool stuff like park concerts. Is stuff like the fishing stuff part of the county?
Yeah, County Parks puts on a winter fishing derby.
So cool.
But then there are a whole bunch of fundraising fishing derbies that happen less in the winter, I think, and more in the summer, out on the big water and on the lake and the river. Yeah. Those are lots of times a fundraiser for somebody.
Yeah.
Things I didn't know.
Yeah, the county does so much for us. What's like the most unexpected part about your job, or like the most the part of your job that brings you the most enjoyment and fulfillment of what you can bring to the community?
Gosh, I would say that the thing I like to do in all things is that I really do like the joy of tackling a problem or finding a solution, creating some efficiency where it can all be going better. So there's room to do that always in government because the world around us is changing. And so lots of times, out in the world of social media today, you'll hear somebody types in, I don't know why they do it this way. The truth is we started doing it that way, not because we just arbitrarily picked a bad way, but like all things in our life, including at home, we did it that way because when we started, it was the right way to do it. And then we evolved because we ran into a problem. And now today, for some reason, that last evolution isn't working anymore. And so then we have to say, how could we do it better? Or we have a new tool, or we have a new partner and they bring some different resources. And so for me, by and large, the enjoyable part of the job is doing that, helping with that evolution, helping with innovation, solving problems. I feel great if I meet with a couple of department heads and we realize that we have a duplication of something now, because often it's now technology. We're storing something somewhere and we don't have to store it 3 places anymore. Or somebody is tracking something that some other department could really find useful. And to find a way to bring that together, I get lots of joy out of that.
That's so cool. And I'm sure in 28 years, you've seen a lot of that.
A lot of growth in the county. And
I mean, when I started, and it's like November, you'd think I would remember. It's like November 7th, 1997, or November 3rd, 1997. So we're coming right up on it. I started working in the courthouse. And so in the place, my office was actually right where the municipal court office is right now. I started working in the Veteran Service Office. And we had, I know that by 2010, I was the HR director and we had 140 employees. And I know that 5 years after that, we had doubled to 280. Wow. And now we're up to 350 or a little more. And so I can only guess that in 1997, we had closer to 100 employees, probably, between 100 and 140. And we in Williston were worried about out-migration. The population was aging. Young people weren't moving here. This is long before an oil boom. And I remember being 24 years old, working at the courthouse and being like the youngest person by a lot. Wow. And being kind of a novelty because my husband, who was a middle school band teacher, and I had moved to town, people were like, wow, so you moved here. You
chose to move here.
And we were anomaly.
Right.
Yeah.
We were only going to be here for a few years. And so we were like, we're here making the best of it. And then we're probably going to move to, we always thought in that St. Cloud area where you're not quite in the metro, but you're pretty close. It's beautiful lake country. And so, life kept us here. And certainly now it's home and we're glad to be here. Williston has been great to us. We have 2 kids that we raised that are gone to college now that have had Williston provided a great springboard for them to be really successful in their lives. And so we're glad to have been here for 30 years, almost.
Yeah.
Well, I know the community has benefited from you both so much. So that's really cool that this became your home and you plan to stay here. Yeah.
And there's more that you do in the community as well than just your county job, right?
I have made a commitment in the last year or so to help the chamber. We think one of the things that we know is that a healthy chamber of commerce, a healthy school district, robust medical services, all of these things contribute to the ability to keep people here when they move here to work primarily. It helps us to recruit and retain not just staff, but also their family members that we want to have here. And so I have several of us at the county and some at the city have committed some effort to the chamber. We think it's important that the chamber is healthy. I do participate. The way that I think I got involved in this is that I have participated in Leadership Williston as the speech instructor for a long time.
That's where we met.
Yep. I was a speech and debate person. My major in college is actually speech communication, not like journalism, but like public speaking.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, look, Carmen didn't know.
I didn't know that. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. So when I first moved here, I was working for the county, but I taught adjunct at the college speech classes. And so then somewhere along the way, and I should have done research before I came here today. Somewhere along the way, I became the speech instructor for Leadership Williston. So in case people listening don't know, Leadership Williston is a program of the Chamber which facilitates people networking out into the community, learning about the community, developing their leadership skills, and as a part of that, developing their public speaking skills.
Yep. So you always get little notes from Helen on the things you did well and what you could work on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And people start the program and are so nervous about this public speaking element.
Very much so.
People would say sometimes, I would like to do Leadership Williston, but I'm so afraid of the public speaking. Mm-hmm. And I would say, no one has keeled over or passed out from the stress of public speaking. And every year, even the most nervous and reluctant speaker develops skills, becomes more comfortable, advances in their ability to do it. And so that is really rewarding, and it's fun to get to know the people. There's all sorts of people in this world that I know because I spent this 8-month program with them. One of the, I think, 8 or 9 years I've been doing it.
Yeah. And it's been beneficial. I mean, we had a smaller class this time around. I don't know typically how many are in leadership.
Yeah, I would say 10 to 12. And so you were a group of six in the end.
Yeah, 6. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, we talked about it in previous episodes that we were so supportive of each other in giving constructive criticism to each other and feedback because we wanted each other to be successful. And you were the same way in your feedback. It wasn't personal, it was more in guidance and professional, like here's what you can do to better your speech so that others could understand you better.
Yeah, one of the things that I changed when I came in, that a man named Randy Keene, who was an active Toastmaster, was using the Toastmaster curriculum before I became the speech person. And while I think that's nice, I mean, it's a setup curriculum, and Toastmasters has a long history of success in developing speakers and developing skills. Some of the feedback that we had gotten from those groups was that it was so it was almost too structured. It felt like it wasn't very approachable. And so my perspective was, how can I craft this curriculum, I guess, which is a very loose word for what I do. How can I make it practical to people in their business life? Because that's what folks are in Leadership Williston. They're folks like Diane who are managing a function in a larger organization who might need to give a speech to staff or in front of a larger group of her coworkers, or maybe are hoping to do different things in the community where you'll have to speak in front of people. So let's not get too structured with the old school speech rules. Let's just get comfortable with practical ways of speaking. And so that's the goal. And I think Diane's class of Leadership Williston did do a good job of being a little more honest and direct with people. A lot of times, Leadership Williston groups, I say, somebody gets done speaking, and then I say, all right, what can you tell Diane about her speech? And people say, well, it was good.
No.
You look less nervous. And I'm like, okay, but constructive criticism means you swayed at the podium the whole time, so you need to stop because it was distracting.
Give something for them to work on.
Yes, we say it in kind ways, but that's how we get better.
Yeah, stop waving your hands around. You're not bringing an airplane in.
That's right. That's right.
That's good that you guys were that you were comfortable enough to give each other feedback like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way for others to be successful, right? We're not doing it out of spite. We're doing it from a place of kindness.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how exact the transition of all of these skills are, but I have to say, all of our guests have been Leadership Williston grads, whether from your class or from previous classes, and just the conversational skills are really great too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's likely a personality type that is somebody outgoing enough to be willing to do Leadership Williston. I can think of some participants who have been, they joke, voluntold by their supervisors to participate in Leadership Williston, and they are quiet and reserved, and they do a great job often. Though I am obviously an extroverted talker, and I think that I benefit from having some quiet, more introverted but more contemplative people around me, because I'm busy talking and sharing my stories and, gabbing with people. And those folks are sometimes really thinking about what's being said and observing it and taking in the whole room in a way that I'm not. So I love to have those people around. But I would bet you, Carmen, that if you asked them to be on a podcast, they would say no. So there's a reason you got the good talkers on, because they were willing to say yes.
And all of them have said yes. We've had all of the graduates on here.
That's great.
So
this sixth bunch of women, all happen to be women in Leadership Williston this year, you all were really an outgoing, dynamic bunch. So much so that I wish we could sprinkle you into past and future classes, because we've had some groups that have been a more reserved, just more their personality type overall has been reserved, and then it isn't the same. You don't have the same kind of camaraderie coming out of the class because you just haven't made the same kind of connections.
Right. It's like you need a buddy system for the next class. Like, choose your buddy.
Right. Well, I think we have Kayla Stamp coming in to help with next year's class, and she'll certainly bring her fun energy.
Anyone can connect with her. She's got that personal skill. So
that's right.
That's great to hear. So when I didn't realize you'd been involved in Leadership Williston for so long. That's amazing. When did you get started helping with that?
Gosh, I don't really know, Carmen. I think 16, 17.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Certainly well before the pandemic, I was rolling. So, yes, it's been a long time.
That's amazing.
A long time.
How wonderful for our Leadership Williston grads to be able to work with you. So, yeah, what is your favorite part of the... I know we've asked a lot of people who come here as participants, but as like someone who helps with the facilitating, what is your favorite part of Leadership Williston?
I do love to see... Maybe it seems self-serving because I'm going to talk about the speech part, but
No, it makes sense.
It feels so great to see somebody who has great speech skills can improve and do better. So that's fun to see. But it's really the person who comes in and says on the first day, I feel like I might throw up because I'm so nervous about talking in front of people. Yeah. And we say, nope, it'll be okay. And we come together as a group to support those most nervous of speakers. And by the end, I've never had any of those people say, I'm as nervous as I was, or I can't do this anymore. It is so cool to see in a safe and structured place that they can tackle their fear to a certain degree. I think it is a little bit like being afraid of heights. You can do it and you can think yourself out of it to a certain degree, but like if your brain's wired that way, you are going to be afraid to speak in front of people. Yeah. But you can prove to yourself you can do it. And then in the moment when you must at work or when you must in your personal life, you can do it.
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to pushing yourself. I mean, because if we all just stay in the box and stay within our comfort zone, we will never grow. Yeah. And I don't like heights. But climbing up on that well thing, I was like, do I really have to go up there? But I knew that if I didn't, I would miss out on experience with these women that, made us grow as not only individuals, but as a team and that experience. Yeah. It was crazy.
And how cool, like, I know I got to see the oil well last year with the Leadership Williston class. Like, it's just really cool to see what is so central to our commerce and economy here in Williston specifically. Like, not only would you miss out with your classmates, but you'd miss out on such a unique experience that is Williston. It really is Williston.
You don't get that opportunity very often to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I know most people were saying that their favorite part of Leadership Williston was going to the airport and going on the tarmac and stuff like that. Like, it's so cool that this program really, it teaches you the civic inner workings of Williston, but also you get to just see things that the everyday person might not see.
And you get to build a rapport with people in different organizations and different skill sets than you have than your own.
Yeah.
Build a connection.
Network of really cool women that you can call.
I know. I'm
for
like
anything.
I had a court question, so I'm like, I'm gonna call Jackie. Text Jackie and be like, hey, I got a question for you. Can you help me? But that's really nice to have that connection with people that I didn't have before.
That's so cool.
And we're thankful for all of the employers who there's a fee that the employer pays. It's not very much. And they allow their staff to be gone for a whole day once a month for 8 months. And so it does take some commitment from the employer to make sure that that happens. And our participants have to juggle their schedule to make sure they can stay up on their work and carve out those 8 days. We have a strict attendance policy. You need to be there for all of them to make it work.
And then work on a project as well that it'll impact the community in a positive way.
Yeah. How cool. It's a really cool program.
I enjoy it. Yeah. I enjoyed the time. I kind of wish I would have done it sooner, maybe earlier in my start to being here in Williston. But, I mean, it's kind of one of those, I was meant to do it now. I mean, had I done it earlier, I may not have had the same experience.
Right.
May not have been with the same group. May not have done this podcast as my project.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty incredible. Yeah. So, Helen, I know just personally that you also are really involved. I know winter's coming up and curling season is coming up.
I am a curler. I've curled all the years that I've been here, except for the 2 that I was pregnant.
Okay.
And so I guess 26, 25, if we're going to do 26 now. Yep. So I am a curler. Williston Basin Curling Club is the organization in town that operates out at the fairgrounds. It's called the multi-purpose building, but then I think for 5 months of the year we call it the curling club.
Yeah.
And I am the league coordinator. That just really means that I make a schedule and take phone calls from people who might not be able to make it. But Monday night we curl what is sort of the chill family retired crew league. And then there's Wednesday night men's and Thursday mixed, which means men's, women's, any mixture of participants. So, yeah, I'm always excited to get back at it. There's a whole group of people that I only see during curling season. You know,
so it's like a reunion every time.
It is. That's exactly right. And it's different people now. When Chad and I moved to town in 1987, I had actually curled a little bit in high school. So I grew up in Minot, and Minot High had a Phi-Ed program at that point where you could, in the winter months, have curling as your Phi-Ed class. And they bussed us over to the Minot Curling Club 3 days a week, and we got to curl, 5th hour or whatever. And so I had curled in high school just in Phi-Ed. I wasn't in a league or anything. And I thought, man, that's fun. And then I went to school in Fargo-Moorhead, and Fargo has a big curling club. It used to be right up by NDSU. And so I remember driving by it and thinking, oh, I wish that I could curl, but I had a full-time job and went to college, and that wasn't in the books for me. And then when we got here, I thought, I'm going to get my new husband, and we're going curling.
Yeah.
And so depending on who your podcast listeners are, Sherry and Lloyd Tissey, which were longtime folks who have since moved away, Sherry and Lloyd took us on, and so it was Helen and Chad Askim and Sherry and Lloyd Tissey, and we curled together for some number of years, and they taught us a little bit along the way about how a married couple recreates together, because we got to see they felt like they were way into their life at the time, but they had middle school and high school kids. They were probably 40 years old, but I felt like they had it all figured out. And so, you're curling along and you disagree or you agree, or whatever happened earlier in the day, you drag along with you to the curling club. No. So Sherry and Lloyd taught us about curling, taught us a little about married life. And then there was a period in which Chad did some adjunct teaching in Dickinson. And so then he quit curling with me, which was maybe better because my husband is a little more competitive than I am. So, if we lost and it was my fault, I'd be like, oh, well,
whatever.
But Chad, as we're driving home, he'd be like, well, if you'd thrown that one better, it really would have. And so it was maybe time for us to be done. And so then I've just always curled. Chad has not come back to curling, and I've curled ever since.
That's so fun, though. And it's a great way to get into the community. And like you said, you have kind of this cohort of people you don't see until curling starts, which is kind of bittersweet, but that's so fun. When does this season start?
Usually the middle of November, so kind of right in early November, they put the ice in, which means if anybody's been out to the multipurpose building, whether it's during the fair or even, there are wedding receptions and there's events out there, that space that is the big concrete space that is beyond the windows on the first floor all becomes 4 curling sheets. And so it takes some effort. There are, stickers or vinyls, I think they call them, that you put down and then you flood it, and it's layers of water getting flooded and there's boards to keep the water where it's supposed to be. There's a whole bunch of people that volunteer, by the way, to get this done. So shout out to the volunteers of the Williston Basin Curling Club. And so once the ice is in, then curling starts toward the end of November.
I've never done it. That would be kind of
interested?
cool.
Because Helen's always looking for alternates for her team, which is how I know about this from last year.
I would tell you that if you watch Williston Basin Curling Club, their Facebook page, there's usually a couple of times in the early part of the season where they have come out and try it. And if I knew you, somebody, Diane, who knew me, who wanted to be out there, I'd go with you. And it's fun and it's not that hard, and yet it's also kind of hard. I mean, it's not ice skating.
That could be our first podcast on the road.
Oh, to do it on the ice. You think Meg will do it?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. How many are on a team again?
4.
That would be perfect.
We can try it. We'll just have to get Meg involved.
We have a mic that can come with us portably, and we could totally do a podcast episode about
on
curling.
how to curl.
Yes.
I'm an avid podcast listener. When I'm at home, if I'm doing dishes, working in the garden, whatever it is that I'm doing, whatever hobby doesn't require me to talk, I'm listening to podcasts. And one of the things that I think is most interesting, over the years, This American Life is, I think, the base example of a good radio show turned podcast. It's the editing that's so cool. If they say, and so then we're out at the curling rink, and then you hear the clunk of the stones, it just kind of brings you there. I feel like this is a big undertaking to go on the road, but I'm cheering you on. I hope it works.
We've been talking about it. We've been trying to do a let's come with us on this journey kind of thing to see how it is.
Yeah,
that would be kind of cool to do.
That would be, and I was just amazed because the first time I heard of curling was watching the Winter Olympics one year, and I didn't realize how heavy those stones were.
Oh yeah,
they're so heavy, and the brushing of the ice, all of it is so fun, and what a fun sensory experience it would be to hear the stones clink and the brushing and the different things that you would yell to a teammate.
Right. I would say when I think about me and curling all of these years, I would tell you that people who move to town who feel like they don't find their place here or who struggle to feel like they fit in, when Chad and I moved here, we weren't joining a whole bunch of people who'd moved to town over the last 5 years. I swear to you, it was us, and I can probably name the 10 other people under age 30 who moved to Williston in 1997.
Oh, wow.
Because we were like, oh man, new people moving to town. And part of what made Williston become home for us, or integrated us into the community, which people can still do today, is just to get out there and participate in something. And I know that it feels scary. I mean, I still sometimes too think, oh, new thing. I don't know. What if I don't know anyone there? But the truth is I'm over that, because I know that going out and just experiencing those new things puts you in places and mindsets that are great. And so we joined City Band, which at the time was directed by Virgil Severson. And I was a clarinet player and terrible, but my husband, of course, is a music teacher and a band director. And so I just stood in the back and played really simple percussion parts with my husband. And still, all these years later, we participate in, I haven't as much this last year or two, but Chad still participates in those city band groups, whether in the winter and the fall or in the summer. And we started curling, and we just kept finding groups and things to do that fit our interests and that we enjoy. Chad started drumming early at Entertainment Inc., and so we continue to support and enjoy Entertainment Inc., which is our local community theater. They put on 4 shows a year. They do a great job. You get to go enjoy the old armory, which is really a cool building in our community. There really is a lot of interesting, fun things to do. it is about being a little brave to get out there and try it. And then you don't know, you might be curling for 28 years.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. You're not going to make or meet new people sitting in your home. Like, no one's going to come knock on your door and be like, can you come outside and play? Mm-hmm. We're not kids. Like, if you want to make friends as an adult, you're going to need to step out to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't have kids. I think as you get to a situation where you're raising children, it's easier to meet people because your kids drag you to things. Now that our kids have graduated, there are parents, their peers' parents, who I miss. We got to see each other at sporting events or at band events, or we'd run into each other as we were all at parent-teacher conferences together. And we don't have a connection outside of those kid activities. But man, I love to run into those people and see them. And I've actually been thinking, how could I create some kind of an alumni group for my kids as parents? Yeah, right. In a way, I don't know, but I don't know that I'm going to pull that off. But I miss seeing those. And sometimes I get to see the kids. So when our kids are home from college, then their friends come over, and so I get the update from the child. But I kind of want to know how their folks are doing, too.
Yeah. Maybe just invite them over, too. Maybe just come over for dinner, too.
Boy, when your kids come home from college, one of the tricks is that you would just want to savor those moments with them. I'm kind of glad to have their friends there, but secretly I also just want them to myself.
Yeah. How interesting. Yeah, and we love finding ways to encourage people to engage with Williston, whether we're talking with people in the community or talking about local events. Maybe there's just like that perfect local event where you'll find, okay, this is where we can reunite. I know like the Range is hosting a book club coming up. There's like fun things like that, fun adult things that people can do.
I have a thing that I love that I'm going to plug shamelessly, I guess.
Go right ahead.
First weekend in December 6th, our annual Tuba Christmas event will happen. So if your listeners don't know, Tuba Christmas is, I don't think Diane knows.
I have
She's
no idea. I'm like, do tell.
So tuba is a big brass instrument, low. Baritone euphonium looks similar if you're not into brass instruments, but is smaller.
Tuba.
Yes, a mini tuba really. And so Tuba Christmas is a day dedicated to those three instruments playing Christmas music. Really? And so it's not typical that these instruments would carry the melody in a song. And so they play out of books that are custom made for them to be able to play a song that has all the parts we would expect to hear. And it's sort of a fun day for the people who play these instruments that don't often take the spotlight. You know, we think of clarinets and flutes and trumpets doing that.
Yep.
Even French horns sometimes. Yeah. And so Tuba Christmas is a international event, and we in Williston have had Tuba Christmas. I think this year, I think we're going to end in a 0. I don't know if it's 30 or 40 years, whatever. Jean Lindvig for a long time was the Tuba Christmas coordinator. Then she handed it off to me. We have a son who's a tuba player, and so he's not here anymore. He's off to graduate school with his tuba, but we'll host Tuba Christmas at the Old Armory, usually 1 o'clock. I haven't set the schedule yet, but usually 1 o'clock we have a concert. It's like a wacky bit of Christmas fun, and then we go downtown. Our tradition, like we are staunch traditionalists. We walk outside with our brass instruments and play at the corner of ASB, like right across from Cooks on Main. And it's typically cold, and sometimes it's snowing. We've had instruments freeze up because, of course, they have spit in them. If it's too cold, they freeze up. But it's all sort of hilarious and fun. And again, this is a situation where, just like I see a certain group of people at Tuba or at curling, then we have some people that come and play at Tuba Christmas that I don't get to see any other time. But then, and so it's a lot of fun. We have some community support, some patrons that help too. We practice in the morning. I mean, I don't play. They practice in the morning. My husband directs it, so he gets his baton out of storage. Just kidding, it's not in storage. And we feed him lunch, and then we do a series of concerts. We go to both Arbor House and I can't think
Bethel?
And not Bethel, but the
Golden Estates?
No. Anyway, it's right next to Bethel. It's the Bethel Apartments. Anyway, we go to places. We go to 2 assisted living places, and we play downtown, and we play at the Armory. Really, the Armory is the place to come see the concert.
December 6th then.
December 6th, 1 o'clock.
I feel like I've missed the last one for some perform or something other. I am not missing it this year.
And that weekend is also the Christmas show for Entertainment Inc. And so we're grateful to the Old Armory and to Entertainment Inc. because they partner with us to allow us to use the space when they're not using it. And so you can come that night or anytime that weekend and go to their Christmas show. They just did Addams Family a couple of weeks ago. They actually did a 2-weekend run of Addams Family, which was great.
So good.
I didn't get a chance to go.
Oh.
But it's time for our question.
It is.
For Helen. I'm trying to think of which one I want to answer.
They withheld these from me.
Yes.
Yeah, this is like spur of the moment. We just throw it on our guest to kind of... So we get an honest answer.
That's right.
I'm going to go with this one. If your team had a mascot, what would it be and why?
Ooh.
So you mean if Williams County had a mascot?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, what is your team? Is this Williams County? Is this your family? Is this your curling team?
Whatever team you want.
Boy. I'm not really a creative thinker. I'm a little more concrete sequential, I do have to say Williams County, certainly all things that happen at the county require human beings to do it. If you think about some organizations where, you can automate or you can outsource it, the work of county government requires someone to be doing it. Our roads don't get graded and the snow doesn't get moved without somebody climbing into a motor grader to do that work. When we call 911, it's a county employee who answers that call and who effectively gets the right people there to help you. And our first responders are thoughtful and brave and provide such meaningful service to the community. And I would call myself sort of a type A bold person, but I'm not brave enough to do some of what they do. And so I'm, ever grateful to dispatch, the sheriff's office. And then there's all the administrative functions that we sort of take for granted. So we want all of the services that happen because of government operation, but that doesn't happen without people distributing the money to make sure the work gets done, or tracking the documents so that you actually know you own your house and that's not up for dispute. And when somebody is in question of whether they've done something wrong or not criminally, it's our attorneys who are shepherding some part of that criminal justice process through. And so I was also wasting time there with my broad explanation of county government.
To think of the perfect mascot.
I don't know, because in one way I think that it is something like a cat or like a
a tiger?
No, because I think that in a way county government is operating quietly.
Yeah.
Not in the forefront of people's minds, but around and kind of essential, the way people might think of it.
So kind of like a house cat.
Kind of a house cat.
A watchful, at times protective.
May not always see, but always is around.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, we'll give you this one too.
Oh no.
If your calendar could talk, what would it beg you to stop scheduling?
These are really hard questions, Diane. Okay, I think the problem that my calendar would identify is that I don't follow it very well. So my calendar would say, Helen, quit chatting after a meeting and get to the next one. Or don't underestimate how long it's going to take you to get from one place to another. Like, that's probably my greatest difficulty, is that I schedule a meeting and I have 15 minutes between. But if we know that I'm a little chatty and I'm probably not going to leave that spot right when it's done, then I'm also not going to get to the next one on time. And I am chronically late in a way that I don't dispute anyone should be annoyed with me about. But I also, like, sometimes I'm just really in the moment, and I do attempt to be present for the people that I'm with. And sometimes that means that I am not mindful of the next thing coming. So I don't know that it's about scheduling. It's really about me being responsible with my own self.
Your calendar would be
better.
like, give yourself 30 extra minutes.
Yes.
More time placed between meetings.
Yes.
I resemble that so much. I completely am with you there. So, yeah.
And I think some days are worse than others, right? Mondays probably you're busy.
Yeah, for me, if I get off, it feels like I can't make up the time.
It's like a domino effect.
It is.
Yeah.
And everyone, and it's not just at work, by the way. I mean, this is also in my personal life that my husband and kids eye roll at. Okay, so Helen, we need to leave. Why are you doing that one last thing? Well, because
it's on my mind right now, and if I don't do it, I'll forget.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Those clothes won't dry themselves. I need to get them in the dryer.
Yeah, because when we get home, I'm going to forget, and then they're going to spill, and I'll have to wash them again, and here we are again.
But they're in the car waiting for me, and all got themselves ready and on time. So that's my calendar answer.
Both those are great answers.
Those are both
very
great answers.
creative. Yeah. You say you're not creative, but those are both very creative
Those
answers.
are very good.
I don't feel like house cats right, but I can't even think of animals.
I mean, with what you were describing, and this is kind of in that same vein, but I feel like a German Shepherd or some like a very like protective, brave, watchful animal.
Yes, I think
That's
so.
kinda what I was thinking.
Service, maybe German Shepherd.
Maybe.
And then you guys could get an office German Shepherd.
No,
Oh,
You just
dang it.
wanted to get a dog.
Yes.
no, no.
Carmen has a hidden agenda. She just
Yeah.
wants everyone to have a
Office
pet,
dogs.
an office dog to go see.
Yeah. And if you heard the background breathing during this episode, that was our office dog Chunky napping.
Yeah, we pick him up every now and then, so you can hear him. But I appreciate you coming on,
Thanks
talking
for
about
having
you
me.
and
This is a great conversation.
everything you do for our community. Thank you for joining us.
Yep, no problem.
Thanks, Helen.
Uh-huh.